So, my most asked question, are your boobs real? And the answer is no. I thought it was really obvious to everybody, but clearly it isn't, because I've always had messages about whether they're real or fake, and then when I put up it was my boob's birthday, I had so many people message me and said they had no idea that they were fake, which is really weird to me, because obviously to me it's pretty obvious. But yeah, I had my boobs done 2 years ago. I had them done with Harley Medical. All my consultations and everything were done in Bristol because that's where I'm from, but the actual surgery was in London. I think it was Highgate. And yeah, I had them done 2 years ago, had them done on the 9th of January on a Saturday, and I remember it was a Saturday because I had my surgery on the Saturday, then only had the Monday to Friday off of work, and then I was fine to go back to work the following Monday. Now I'm like in front of a camera, I literally don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what to say. I've had quite a few messages in on Instagram. I made a post on my boob's birthday, and I also made a post earlier on today asking people to ask me questions, so I'm gonna have a read through and see what people really want to know. Okay, so there's actually loads of questions like what made you want to have your boobs done, which is like really weird to me. I assumed everybody would like want to know the price and like not really care why I had them done. But basically, this feels like a bit TMI, but like the shape of my boobs, fine, don't mind them. They're the exact same shape as they are now, but they were just smaller. And when I say smaller, I mean a lot smaller. Like I had no boobs. Where I'm like really tall and I'm quite like stocky, I'm very bottom heavy. It looked weird. Like honestly, I was so out of proportion. It didn't look right at all. So I always said I wanted a boob job, but I never thought I would actually get it. It wasn't until I'd like left school and like had a job and was working full time and saw other people that had boobs that I actually thought, okay, this is a thing that people do. Like it's not just celebrities that have their boobs done, normal people have their boobs done. So that's when I really started to look into it. And then I booked my consultation and pretty much went from there. I think after my consultation, it's probably 2 or 3 months before I had the actual surgery. So I was 19, or was I 18? No, I think I was 19 when I had the surgery. And honestly, it was the best thing I ever did. That's a lot of the questions that I'm getting is, would you recommend it? How do you feel now? Honestly, best thing I ever did. Like, went for the consultation. My first consultation was with a nurse, and she kind of spoke to me about why I wanted them done, like the shape that I was hoping for, the look that I was trying to achieve, that kind of thing. That all went fine. I can't remember if I had another consultation with a nurse again or if my next consultation was straight with a surgeon. But when I met Dr. Thrush, like fine, he was really nice, everything, blah blah blah. And basically what they make you do, what they made me do, is try on like almost like a nursing bra kind of thing, and they put different size silicone implants in the bra, like obviously not in your actual boob, in the bra, so you could kind of get a feel for how they're going to look, how big you want to go, that kind of thing. My implants are a size, oh shit, 430, or are they no, yeah, I think they're 430 cc. So what a cc is a liquid gram, I believe. So the implants aren't measured in, you don't go in and say, I want a D cup implant. That's kind of not how it works. So they're measured in cc's. So you could be a 300, a 325, a 350, 430, 500 cc. And basically what my surgeon did is he put the bra on and we were putting implants in. And because I didn't really know what size I wanted to go to, he basically said, so I'm going to keep putting the implants in, and when you feel they're too big, tell me to stop. We did discuss maybe doing 500, and he said he thought my body could take it and my chest could hold it, but where my boobs actually sit quite far apart anyway, he said the implants would literally be sitting under my armpits, which is how we kind of ended up going on for 430. And I'm so glad we did. Like, it is so in proportion with my body, and I think that's why people can't tell that they're fake, because they've dropped really well, they've settled really well, and also they are like in proportion. Although I would love them bigger, and that is the thing, everybody has boob greed, everybody wishes that they went a little bit bigger after. I know they're like in proportion for my body, I know they're the right size. As for the actual surgery itself, so I went under the muscle. Over the muscle I can't tell you about, but it seems like a walk in the park. I swear nobody is in that much pain after. Under the muscle, different story. Okay, I was literally dying. So okay, wake up from the surgery and I was dying. I'm not even joking, literally dying. Worst pain I've ever been in. It was bad, to be honest with you, and I didn't realise it was going to be that bad. Your boobs are like right up here, they're really hard, it's really tight, like you can't breathe. I couldn't move. It was, honestly, it was so painful. When you think about it, your muscle has just been cut open, like it's gonna hurt, so I don't know why I didn't really think of that before. But yeah, it hurt. I didn't actually stay in the hotel in London. I didn't actually stay in the hospital in London overnight. I was allowed to stay in a hotel around the corner from the hospital because it saved a bit of money. I'll get onto that in a minute. I was discharged from the hospital with muscle relaxers and cocodamol, which is not strong enough for me. It's a painkiller, but it's not strong enough for me. So the next morning I made my boyfriend, who was driving me there and back, go back to the hospital and go in, and they gave me some more muscle relaxers because I was, honestly, it was so tight. I was like struggling to breathe. It was horrible. So I had those, got back to Bristol, and when I say I was dying, I was literally dying. So I actually ended up calling Harley Medical, and I can't fault their aftercare at all. They were, and they still are, amazing. Rang them, they got me an emergency appointment to go back in because now I look back, I was probably overreacting, but I honestly thought I was dying. So they got me in with a surgeon, in just whatever surgeon was in the Bristol branch at the time, who basically had a look at me, said everything was completely normal. It was just the swelling and everything, and I just wasn't expecting that amount of pain. So he signed off and gave me some tramadol, which is a really strong painkiller. Only thing is, it's a class C drug, so nobody would give it to me. So none of the pharmacies I was going to would give it to me. And I ended up having to ring like my GP, and they had to sign a letter to say that I was allowed it because it's like a controlled substance and whatnot. But as soon as I had that tramadol, the pain honestly like halved, and each day got better and better and better. By like the third, fourth day after my surgery, and you're not supposed to do this, but I was like up, I was like trying bikinis on, trying clothes on, I went shopping, and as I said, I went back to work on the Monday. So I only work in an office, so it's not like really strenuous. I didn't have to like lift things or anything, but I was fine for work on that Monday. If I hadn't have had those painkillers though, honestly, I probably still would have been dead. Like, it was bad. Just be prepared. My boyfriend actually took the week off work for me, like, and if he hadn't have done that, I couldn't dress myself, I couldn't sit up, I couldn't move over, I couldn't hold a glass. Honestly, it was quite bad. So just be prepared. Should I do pricing now? Okay, so in terms of pricing, I have to try and remember. So I think altogether my deposit was £500. I have a feeling you had to pay £250 to see the surgeon for your, this is when, you know, you're 100% you're going to go for it, you're going to meet with the surgeon before you have your operation. I think that was £250, and then the next month, I think it's like a month before your surgery, you have to pay, or you have to have paid your whole deposit. So by that point I paid £250 and another £250, so my £500 deposit was paid. I think this was how it worked. And then, as I mentioned, I didn't actually stay in the hospital overnight. I stayed in a hotel around the corner. I don't know whether you can still do that. This is what they gave me at the time. And by staying in a hotel around the corner, I saved £800, which is obviously a massive saving. Basically, they need you to still be near the hospital in case something goes seriously wrong. So I wasn't allowed to drive back to Bristol, but I could stay around the corner. I think if anything had gone wrong in the surgery or whatever, there was major complications, they wouldn't have discharged me. I would have had to stay in the hospital, but because everything was fine, I was allowed to stay around the corner. So by that point, I paid £500, I've saved £800, and Harley Medical also do a refer a friend scheme. So I knew someone that had her boobs done with Harley Medical, and for referring me, she got £100 and I got £100 off my surgery. So by this point, I'd like paid / saved like, what's that, £1,200, something like that. So I think my total cost after all of this was about between 3,200 to 3,600, something like that, which is actually like quite cheap for a boob job. If any of you are like looking into it or have had it, that's like a really good price. I financed mine, and I think my payments were something like £160 for 2 years. Okay, so I touched briefly on my implant, but just to say it again, my implant is a 430cc and I am under the muscle and I have round implants. And some people ask me like what profile I am. I think it'd be high, low or side or middle. I have no idea, to be honest with you. That's just something that I didn't ask, he didn't discuss. My boobs naturally sit very far apart and they still do now, and this is the thing that my surgeon really jumped into me, is if there's anything you don't like about your boobs now, so say, I don't know, you have like wonky nipples or a mole or something you don't like, put an implant in and it's going to look 10 times more obvious and 10 times worse. So that was something he really drummed into me. Luckily there's nothing about my boobs that I don't really like, so oh, what size was I before? So I never actually had my boobs measured, but I wore a 34A and I wear now a 34 double D or E. Okay, so a lot of questions saying what was recovery like. So as I mentioned, I was dying and then I had my tramadol and it was a miracle, I was fine. In terms of kind of like dropping and settling and stuff, so I have a feeling it takes like, it can take up to 6 months to fully drop. I was really lucky, my boobs kind of dropped almost straight away. So as I mentioned, when you first get it done, your boobs are up here, literally up here, really hard, really tight, really sore. They feel, or they look a bit like triangles. Like, it's not pretty, it's not a pretty sight when you first wake up and for the first few weeks. And then after time drop and they start to soften up. So oh, this is a good one. What do my parents think? I don't know if I should say this. Oh my god, I don't even know if I should be putting this out there, because fun fact, pretty much no one in my family knows. Like, my dad to this day still doesn't know. My mum was the only person I told, and I have a feeling she told my sister, but my mum was the only person in my family I told. She initially like just didn't speak to me, and I thought she was like really mad at me for wanting it done. And all she said was, I'm not mad at you, I'm just upset that you felt like you had to change yourself. But it was something that I really wanted to do, and she kind of accepted it. But yeah, she's fine with it now. She's fine with, she doesn't like me changing myself, but she knows, you know, for a start, I'm old enough, I'm of the legal age, it's my body, and as long as I'm paying for it, then not really too much that my family can do. But yeah, my dad still doesn't know, so oops. Right, okay, a lot of people are saying, how do they feel now? So 2 years later, honestly, I actually haven't really had any problem with my boobs. I'd say about a year after, I was on holiday in Ibiza, shock, with some of my friends, and we were led there and we could hear a weird like gurgling noise and figured out it was my boobs. And now I know that my boobs actually do that every once in a while. I don't know why, it's almost like a little bubbling sound. But at the time I was like really panicked. I was in Ibiza, rang Harley Medical, they're amazing. Honestly, every time I've had to speak to them after, which to be fair is only 2 or 3 times, they've been really amazing. Nothing has happened with them. I have no pain. I've never had any pain. After like those first few days and after I had my stronger painkillers, I've been absolutely fine. I do have friends that their boobs hurt to this day and they've had them done like 3-4 years ago, but mine have been fine. The only thing that I did have is right after the surgery, I started to get stretch marks on my boobs. It's gone down now, but that did worry me a little bit. But I actually went back to I went back and saw the surgeon, and he kind of said it was nothing really to be worried about, just to put Albus oil on it and they would go, and they did. Right, I'm getting a lot of questions about the scarring. If I'm front on, you can't see any scars at all. Like, even if I kind of move back, you can't see anything. There's no, even if I didn't have a top on, you can't see anything at all. There's a little scar there and a little one. Scars actually look worse right now because I've put a bit of fake tan on, so they're more obvious. Normally you can hardly see anything at all. Okay, a lot of people have said what do they feel like, and obviously I never had boobs, so I can't really tell you what they feel like because I have nothing to compare it to. But this is one thing, right? If you get your boobs done, loads of people were asked to fill them. I'm not even talking about boys, I'm talking about girls. Girls were asked to fill your boobs, and yeah, that's just one thing I've noticed. To me, they feel what normal boobs would feel like. You can't feel an implant, and that's actually quite weird because literally, like, I don't know where the implant is. I can't feel it. it doesn't even feel like there's anything in there. So if you're worried about that, for me, that's not been any issue at all. Like, nobody can even feel it or see it. So personally, I wouldn't worry about that because it's not an issue I've ever had. But yeah, in terms of sleeping, you have to sleep on your back. So I'd recommend getting like a pregnancy pillow, because that saved my life, because I was getting really bad back and I hated doing that, hated sleeping on my back. But now I can sleep on my front, I can sunbathe on my front. Like, I always thought I'd be really scared they were gonna pop, but it doesn't feel like that at all. It doesn't feel like they're balloons in your chest. Like, I wouldn't even worry about that. I'm sure you can sleep on your front for the rest of your life after, but I'm a side sleeper, so that's not something that I really have to think about. It's not something I've ever worried about. So if you do have any more questions, then just leave them in the comments or message me on Instagram or whatever. Like, I'm pretty open, as I've said. I'm pretty open to talking about my boobs or anything really. So if you do have any more questions and I've left anything out, then just let me know. But yeah, I think that's everything.